Доброго дня, шановні колеги. Розпочинаємо наш
Dear colleagues, we are starting our press briefing. Our speaker today is presidential speaker of the Ministry of Defense, Colonel Oleksandr Motuzyanyk. Information from the anti-terrorist operation area as of yesterday. The situation in the ATO area is still complicated. There are armed provocations on the part of illicit militant units violating Minsk Accords. Yesterday, the number of such violations increased. The illicit militant units actively used the prohibit armaments. 32 times they applied against our forces. Mortars 120 millimeter caliber and 10 times artillery caliber 122 and 152 millimeters. 11 times they used tanks for such shelling, and in Luhansk region they used the jet anti-aircraft system Grad P Partisan. And in Luhansk area they violated the ceasefire at Novotashkinsk, Zolote Bolото, на Крымское счастье. At Donetsk we observed the highest density of fire from the militants. The highest number of such occurrences we had at Donetsk airport, and also in the western environs of Gorlivka, at Marinka and Granitna. Militants used artillery, mortars, grenade launchers, tanks, and small weapons. At Verkhnyoturetsk there was an engagement between the Ukrainian armed forces and militants. The adversary tried to advance at Marinka but was repelled. At Mariupol, unfortunately, the so-called armistice expired. 9-time Russian terrorist troops shelled at our positions at Shirokino, once at Chermolik and Novoselivka. Illegal militant formations also actively utilized drones for air reconnaissance. Yesterday, Ukrainian armed forces and border guards registered 19 flights of their drones. Yesterday, as a result of the combatants, one military officer was killed, 21 were wounded, and also the communities suffer along the engagement line. Yesterday, 6th time, the shell and firing was at the Opitne and Vedeny, not far from the engagement line. Militant used artillery, tanks, and armored personnel carriers. On the 11th and the 12th of June, they also aimed at Avdiivka with a firing and shelling. The Ukrainian city was suffered from tank shelling and heavy artillery use of heavy metal. 2 civilians were wounded and many residential houses damaged. Because of the criminal actions of militants, the economic situation worsened in the temporarily occupied territories. The leaders of militants are trying with intimidation and force overcome the results of their own purposeful devastation of the economy. So the leadership of so-called Luhansk People's Republic put an ultimatum to the miners at strike. They should go on working without any payment or be mobilized. Plotnitsky ordered to give any call to them for their household needs. One person at Avdiivka was recruited by the member of so-called Donetsk People's Republic's intelligence service, Smith. The culprit collected information on the movement of the Ukrainian forces, the number of units, personnel, and armored vehicles. The investigation is in progress. The channel was blocked for illicit supplies of fuel from the from the occupied territory at Belarus. There was a filling station in the Luhansk Oblast that worked without any permits, selling petroleum products illegally smuggled from the occupied territories. Supplies took place at night and were transported by vans without any plates. They would cross the line bypassing the road post. Part of the proceeds would go to the leaders of merchants formations that controlled the business. 7 tons of diesel fuel were seized. The criminal investigations in progress. In Mariupol, the first anniversary of liberation of the city from so-called Donetsk People's Republic was celebrated, and the special sign was unveiled. The planned rotation is in progress in the armed forces of Ukraine. Ukrainian paratroopers came back to Lviv. Their mission was carried out in the most difficult spots. The adversary was afraid of their very name. Now they have a leave. And a story about Ukrainian tankist. Yaroslav is 22. He's from Khmelnytsk region. He is the tank driver from the tank battalion. He had 4 tanks, 3 of them were destroyed. He would go to hospital, come back to the front line. His crew destroyed 2 Grads, 5 Uragans, Hurricanes, lots of personnel, scores of armored vehicles, artillery and mortar crews of the adversary. The battalion commander, the master, calls Yaroslav the real Cossack. Yaroslav fight for Stepanka in August 2014. That village was burned down with the Russian Grads. For the first time, he then had to face the Russian army with the insignia and the tricolored flag. So Yaroslav's unit had to retreat from the village on the 14th of August. They were the last to leave it. So to leave and additional training in Shiroký Lan, Yaroslav went back to Debaltsevo, where he fought at Lohvina and Boloirsk. When he was wounded there, he said that they never wasted any shells. Then the Minsk Accords were signed, but Yaroslav is still at the front line. The father of this tankist was also a military officer, and at home he's awaited by his brother, his mom, his dad, and his girlfriend. Thank you very much. That's all from me. Are there any questions? There are no questions. Thank you very much again. Our next briefing will take place tomorrow. Thank you. You'll see our schedule on the site after 3 p.m.